Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's presentation is by Proyecto Juan Diego for What is Diabetes? As we begin, we do ask that if you have any questions, please feel free to enter your questions in the Q&A, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. All right, so we will turn this over to Proyecto Juan Diego. Liddy?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited to be able to do this presentation for the day of today. My name is Lidia Ramirez. I'm the Interim Director of Programs here at Proyecto Juan Diego, and I have the honor to present Laura Lara, who is the supervisor for the Salud y Vida program. And today she's going to be talking about what is diabetes. Laura, here you go. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. This, like a lady said, my name is Laura Lara. I am the LVN. I work here at Proyecto Juan Diego, and I'm the Salud y Vida program supervisor. So today's topic is what is diabetes? So let me see. I froze. Let me make sure I'm doing this. Okay, so let's start first with prediabetes. Prediabetes means having high normal blood sugars. It's not high enough to be considered type 2 diabetes yet, but without lifestyle changes, adults and children with prediabetes are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. What is diabetes? Diabetes is a metabolic disease in which the body's inability to produce any or enough insulin causing elevated levels of glucose in the blood. So here we're showing the road to type 2 diabetes. This is the numbers if you know what an A1C test is. This is what they usually do to determine if you're diabetic or not. The normal readings, the normal numbers are below 5.7. So when you're doing a fast blood sugar test, it should be 99 or below. And if you do a glucose tolerance test, which is the one with the sugary drink, is 140 or below. Now on the pre-diabetes is 5.7 to 6.4. And if you do a fasting blood sugar test, is between 100 to 125. With the glucose tolerance test is 140 to 199. Now let's go with the diabetes. Now, diabetes, the A1C is a 6.5 or above. Fasting blood sugar test is 126. And the glucose tolerance test is 200 or above. So, what is diabetes? Diabetes is a metabolic disease in which the body's inability to produce any or enough insulin causing elevated levels of glucose in the blood. Okay, so types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is the pancreas produces no insulin. Type 2 diabetes, the pancreas doesn't make enough insulin or the body can't use it effectively. Gestational diabetes, that's when we're pregnant. So it's a GDM. It's a type of diabetes that consists of high blood glucose during your pregnancy. What causes type 1 diabetes? Well, type 1 diabetes, known as the juvenile diabetes or the insulin-dependent diabetes, is a chronic condition in which the pancreas produces little to no insulin. Insulin is a hormone needed to allow sugar, which is glucose, to enter your cells to produce energy. Now, different factors include genetic, some viruses may contribute to type 1 diabetes. Although type 1 diabetes usually appears during childhood or adolescence, it can develop, in adults also. Type 1 diabetes has no cure. Treatment focuses on managing blood sugar levels with insulin, diet, lifestyle to prevent any complications. So what are the symptoms for type 1 diabetes? Well, type 1 diabetes has signs and symptoms can appear relatively suddenly or may include increased thirst, frequent urination, bedwetting in children who previously didn't wet the bed during the nights, extreme hunger, unintended weight loss, irritability and other mood changes, fatigue and weakness, and blurred vision. Okay, so what causes type 2 diabetes? Well, type 2 diabetes has several causes. Genetics and lifestyles are the most important ones. A combination of these factors can cause insulin resistance when the body doesn't use insulin as well as it should. Insulin resistance is the most common cause of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 means that the body doesn't use insulin properly. And while some people can control their blood sugar levels with healthy eating and exercise, others may need medication and insulin to manage it. So what are the symptoms for type 2 diabetes? Increased thirst, frequent urination, increased hunger, unintended weight loss, fatigue, blurred vision, slow healing sores, and frequent infections. So what causes gestational diabetes? This is the one that I was talking about while you're pregnant. So gestational diabetes is diabetes diagnosed during pregnancy. Like other type of diabetes, gestational diabetes affects how your cells use sugar, which is glucose. Gestational diabetes causes high blood sugars that can affect the pregnancy and the baby's health. Expectant mothers can help control the gestational diabetes by eating healthy food, exercising, and in some cases, taking medications during pregnancy. Controlling blood sugars can help the mother's and baby health and prevent the difficult delivery. In women with gestational diabetes, blood sugars usually go back to normal after the delivery. But about 50% of women with gestational diabetes develop type 2 diabetes later in life. Diet and exercise can help lower the risk. And also the health care provider may recommend blood glucose tests every 6 to 12 weeks after pregnancy to watch for diabetes. So the symptoms for gestational diabetes, it's like the rest of the other two. It's increased frequent urination, the increased thirst, fatigue. This one has the nausea and the vomiting, weight loss, even with increased appetite, blurred vision, and yeast infections. So what is the big picture of diabetes? Well, more than 34 million people in the United States have diabetes, and 1 in 5 of them don't know they have it. Diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States and may be underreported. Type 2 diabetes accounts for approximately 90 to 95% of all diagnosed cases of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes accounts for approximately 5 to 10%. In the last 20 years, the number of adults diagnosed with diabetes has more than doubled in the American population has aged and become more overweight, obese. Thank you. And like, you have any questions, just put them in the Q&A and we'll try to answer anything.
Laura, I do have a question for you. When you were talking about the A1C test, the glucose test, and the fasting glucose and the glucose tolerance test, can you elaborate a little bit more about each one of those tests, what they are?
So the A1C is every 3 months, it goes back every 3 months, like to see what you did during those 3 months. That's the A1C. And it's they could do it venipuncture at the labs, or they could also do it like a finger stick. Now the fasting blood sugar test, that's the when you don't eat, they could do a venipuncture and also finger stick. Now the glucose tolerance test, that's I don't know if you had any kids, but usually the one that they do is the sugary drink that you drink, like when you're pregnant. I think it's 24 to 28 weeks, they give it to you. It's like a Fanta, real sugary orange drink. You take it, and then in a couple of maybe an hour, you go back and they check your blood, your venipuncture, and take out blood, and they send it out to lab, and that's where they more or less see, where your levels are at. And, and like it's showing here, a lot of people, they're pre-diabetic. Usually, it's 5.7 to 6.4. That's during the A1C. But when you do check at home, the fasting, when you wake up and you check your blood sugar, 100 to 125, it tells you that your blood sugar is a little bit high.
Thank you so much. We do have another question. Is there a correlation between gestational diabetes and the individuals becoming diabetics after birth? And how does that impact the baby?
Sorry. So we're talking about the gestational diabetes. Yes, it does affect the, say the question again. I'm sorry. I was trying to get to this point.
No problem. Is there a correlation between gestational diabetes and these individuals becoming diabetic after they give birth?
Yes, like I mentioned before, about 50% of the women with gestational diabetes will develop type 2 diabetes, but they could also prevent it with the diet and exercising, and to try to lower the risk. It is recommended, and usually the healthcare providers will recommend, the glucose test every 6 to 12 weeks after you deliver, after the pregnancy. But sometimes yearly, the doctor does check and monitor to make sure that you don't end up with diabetes.
Great. And the second part of that question is, how does this impact the baby?
Well, sometimes, I don't know if you've heard and seen, sometimes the babies do come out really big, more than 7 pounds. You sometimes see the babies 9.5 pounds, 10 pounds. And sometimes that's the impact for them. They do check the glucose on them also when they deliver. So it depends, they usually, what I've seen, they don't end up with diabetes there, when they're babies, but they also have to monitor, but they are born big.
Our next question is, in the RGV, do most people have type 1 or type 2 diabetes?
Here in the Lower Valley, we have type 2 diabetes, most of them. We have a big population of the type 2 diabetes, and that's what Salud y Vida, focuses on a lot with the type 2 diabetes.
Okay. What are some of the ways that we can help prevent diabetes? When, say, we're diagnosed as pre-diabetic, what are some of the ways that we can help preventing going into diabetes?
Well, exercise, healthy eating, that's the most important one, and make sure you monitor yourself and learn. If you'll be able to go with somebody, like a nutritionist, a dietitian, that will be great. They could help you. Salud y Vida, like I said, we do provide that classes to help participants to try to, understand the nutrition side. Also how to read labels. A lot of people don't know how to read labels. We go and we say, oh, it's diet, it says light. But in reality, if we got to read those labels to understand, the carbohydrates, the sugars, the fats. And this classes help you. And like I said, if you could get with a dietitian, the clinics, they provide nutrition classes also, and they have, I think they have dietitian, try to get with somebody and they will help you.
Great. Our next question is, are we seeing any growth in these ZPP programs for children?
Do you want to take that one, Liddy?
Yes, so that is something that in the past years it has grown, but I feel that we definitely still need more engagement from the parents to be able to make that grow. But in the past, I could say for sure in the past 12 years, I've seen a growth in being able to implement that with the schools and also in the community. But we still need a lot of work in that area.
Do you know if there are any schools developing any curriculum within the health classes for diabetes prevention?
I know with our school district, we've done some work, but it's been very minor. And especially right now with COVID, that has stopped completely. But definitely that is something that Proyecto Juan is looking for the upcoming year, to see we're able to start implementing in partnership with our school district, which has been a struggle to be able to get into the district. And we know that they have so many things that they have to implement. But in our area right now, unfortunately, no.
Great, thank you. Our next question is what is the benefit of a plant-based diet on preventing type 2 diabetes? Great question.
I went to a seminar one time on plant-based diet. I haven't really looked into it, but what I understood in that class, well, it's veggies, fruits, whole grains, which it does benefit. Like I said, it has to benefit. But I haven't really looked into the just plant-based diet. Like I said, it's mostly for us, you have a lot of participants that they mostly eat meat and, chicken and stuff like that. So we let them know how to associate, how to put a healthy plate, not just plant-based diet. I don't want to answer something that I might just not answer it right.
Our next question is, are there any genetic tests to determine if you are likely to develop diabetes that you are aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. Like I said, it's only the A1C, the one that I know. And that's the one that you usually, if the doctor you let them know any signs or symptoms, or you let them know, hey, I'm going a lot to the restroom, I'm always thirsty. So they do order it. You might want to take the next question, Lady, because that's more like for DPP, right?
Correct. And our next question is, many children have free lunches in the RGB. How are they addressing this?
I know our school district is going with healthier options. There has been conversations, and I know there is working groups on trying to be able to, be able to do a more healthier options, and also give a variety, because I think one of the issues is they're having a repetitive healthy option, but the kids are, getting tired of that healthy option that is being repetitive. But they are, the school districts are trying their best on that. I know in our area, that is something that is being worked on.
Great. Just a reminder again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the question and answer section, and we will get to them. What are some of the resources that the community can use to help with diabetes?
Well, we have a program here in Proyecto Juan Diego that is called Salud y Vida. That's the program that I'm supervising right now. It is affiliated with some of the local clinics, which is Brownsville Community Health Clinic and Su Clínica. Now, these two clinics send us participants, and our promotoras, we have promotoras, CHWs, for the community-based community health workers. They go out and see our participants every 3 months and monitor their A1Cs. They're not nurses, but they're community, they're promotoras. So this program gives you, how to control your diabetes, gives you classes, gives you pointers, and what to do, how to read labels, like I mentioned it before. We give also places where you could exercise, what kind of exercise, if you're, we have a lot of elderly people that, they can be walking and running or anything like that. So we provide also that kind of exercises, what to do even when you're sitting down. We also have the DPP, and also there's another one, pesas, also that could help you with exercising and with the diabetes. Now, DPP is with pre-diabetic, and Lily can talk more about that one.
Yes, we, as Laura mentioned, we have our diabetes prevention program, and we currently use 2 curriculums. And the main goals of those programs is to lose 5 to 7% of their body weight and increment their physical activity to a minimum of 150 minutes a week. By doing that, they can delay or prevent diabetes up to 56%. Do we have any more questions right now?
That looks to be all of the questions we have right now. Again, if you do have a question, please feel free to put it in the Q&A, and we will be more than happy to answer for you. In the meantime, we definitely want to thank Proyecto Juan Diego and Laura and Liliana for giving us a great presentation today. We really appreciate it. We've had some really great questions. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know And if we're not able to get to them today, we will definitely get answers to you. So again, thank you ladies so much for all the hard work you do. And thank you for the great presentation. Otherwise, ladies, thank you so much. We are getting close to our 30 minutes. And we would like to say thank you to everyone that has joined us today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email us and let us know. Thank you all.